Let's look at who was at the Israel Day parade. So this is the parade that Mayor Mamdani caught a lot of flack for not going to. Um, which hosted a bunch of yeah, here's the Jerusalem Post putting out literal old school propaganda of Mamdani, because he didn't show up to the parade, even though he was fine allowing it to happen. Which, to be perfectly frank, he would be within his rights to have some of these people arrested for war crimes, for the things that they've said and done on under international law. He could have sent them all to, not all of them, but some of the people that were delegates from Israel to trial with the International Criminal Court. But yeah, this is the way they choose to portray him, because he didn't want to stand with people who literally said that they were fine with killing babies, which we'll get to in a minute here. But let's take a look at the speaker here. Speakers. Yeah, so Kathy Hochul, the governor, Chuck Schumer, who famously said that his number one goal as a U.S. senator was to ensure the support of Israel. So his number one goal as a U.S. senator is to make sure that Israel, a different country, the size of New Jersey, gets what it needs, not that he helps the American people. Dan Goldman, quotes on Israel, because all these people are going to have some pretty horrendous quotes here. It's going to be pretty easy to find. Israel's right to defend itself. This was pretty boilerplate. He has criticism of Netanyahu. When is that? That's from 2005. And his government policy for settlement expansion into the West Bank. He urges Netanyahu to prioritize diplomacy over personal politics. So his personal politics being killing everyone in the West Bank. And he goes, hey, come on, it's your personal political interest to do this, but don't. And then meanwhile, this was in 2026, so after this genocide's been going on for, 3 years now? Goldman is critical of the BDS movement, Boycott, Divest, and Sanction movement, arguing that it holds American Jews responsible for Israeli government. So Boycott, Divest, and Sanction specifically targets businesses that have ties to Israel, and says that it was anti-Semitic. So in one breath he says, hey, they're doing, it's bad that they're doing settler colonialism. Doesn't say it's a genocide, it doesn't seem like. We could look into it, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that he didn't. Yeah, never mentions that it's a genocide. This is 2 years into the conflict, when we've seen bombing after bombing, where they've already bombed camps full of people after saying that you go to this safe place and this is a place for you, and then they bombed that and they said, well, we thought we saw a terrorist. We thought we saw a shadow of terrorists there one time. So we're going to bomb the entire civilian infrastructure that we just set up for you. Literally crowding them into a target and then bombing the target. And he has no problem with that. He just thinks it's a little mean that sometimes they take some homes in West Bank. But that you shouldn't boycott any Israeli businesses or stop feeding them weapons or do anything like that. He advocates for a two-state solution, even though he's fine with Israel absolutely obliterating the second state. So, we're looking at somebody pretty fucking disingenuous, it seems like. Israel's right to exist, beacon of hope, freedom and opportunity, multicultural, multi-ethnic, which is not even true. They're doing an ethnic cleansing right now. They don't give a shit about multi-ethnic, multi-religious, while they literally massacre anyone who's Muslim in the area. Is just an insane thing. Like, you would have to be insane On anti-Zionists, I can guess what he's going to say about this. A distinction without a difference. So he's saying all anti-Zionists are anti-Semitic, basically, which is a conflation of Judaism and Israel as one and the same thing, saying that anti-Zionism is the same as anti-Semitism, which actually contributes to anti-Semitism, by basically saying everything Israel does is for the Jewish people and it represents the Jewish people, and then we watch them do horrendous things, and then people come to the pretty natural conclusion from those 2 points together, which are, I want to make this very clear, incorrect, that means that Jewish people would be the problem. But that's the conflation that Zionists want you to make because it gives cover for their political ambitions to continue the genocide. On the Abraham Accords, I don't really give a shit. He's not going to have a good opinion on anything anyway, so. Following the ceasefire agreement in Lebanon, he condemned Israel's operation efforts, stating that it did the world a great service by reducing... commended, not condemned. Did them a great service. So basically, after they bombed Lebanon during a ceasefire, this guy says, yeah, that war crime, great. Good on ya. Nice job, dude. So this guy... These are the people that they're mad that Mamdani didn't walk with. People who are fine with making a false ceasefire and bombing a country. By the way, they invaded Lebanon with like no pretense, and have continued to bomb Lebanon during peace talks for the last, was it 20 days or something like that. Letitia James, we already know about her. Let's look at, not this. I want to see... All right, who are my delegates from Israel? All right, we'll just go with the wiki for now. Views on Zionism. Let's see. Supporter of loosening the policy on carrying firearms in Israel in order to allow more armed people on the streets for prevention of fast reaction of terrorist attacks. What this actually means is he wants settlers armed so that when they walk into the West Bank, they can just kill people at will, as they're taking their houses away from them. I want people to imagine for a minute that this happened in the U.S. That people from, I don't know, New York went over to Nebraska with rifles and moved people out of their homes by force, took those homes, and then the state said, no, that's legal. They're allowed to keep your home. Now, if somebody did that to you and your family, what the do you think you would do in return to that? Would you maybe fight back against it? Can we see how the things that Israel did, besides the fact that Israel helped fund Hamas because they wanted a more violent enemy than who they were currently dealing with in Israel, or in the West Bank at the time. This was about a decade ago. Besides the fact they literally funded the organization that did this, they also set up all of the circumstances that they would need to resort to violence to defend themselves. And then fake being surprised so that they can then fully invade the West Bank and begin their genocide. Which is exactly what this guy wants, which is why he wants their random citizens armed, so that they can just go through and indiscriminately. Let's see. I want some quotes from this guy. Yeah. If you want a Palestine state, build it in London or Paris, this guy says. And meanwhile, they were given the land over the Palestinians who had the land before they were even there. And then they were essentially given it after World War II in reparations for what was happening in Germany. So, bad shit obviously happening around the world, and they just plaster over a whole other state and say, oh, if you want it, you can take it somewhere else. Um, the idea that they are different people and need their own rule, like, is wild to me. I see it. I do not ignore it. Um, this guy only wants a two-state solution because he wants to kill everyone in the second state, essentially. Let's see here. Who are the other delegates? Mamdani's boycott came after a backdrop of a sharp rise in anti-Semitic incidents in New York. So this one we can't even necessarily trust because the Anti-Defamation League deems anti-Zionism anti-Semitism. They count anti-Zionist statements by a politician as anti-Semitic incidents, and they deem anybody who's having like a pro-Palestine protest, for example, is considered anti-Semitic, even though all they're saying is stop killing these people. Yeah, I think the fact that we even have a parade for this ethno state in New York every year is just insane to me. I'm looking for whoever was there here. I think it was this guy. Yeah, like this was another one of the speakers at the rally. My right, my wife's, my child's to move around the roads of Judea and Samaria are more important than the rights of Arabs. Basically, just saying our ethnicity is more valuable than theirs. We have rights that we don't want to give to them and that we shouldn't give to them. My right to life takes precedent over their right to movement. Uh, he says this while they were before October 7th, October 8th. Everybody likes to pretend that history started that day. Before October 7th, before October 8th, they had special plates that you would put on cars for Palestinians, and they had to be stopped at every checkpoint. They checked their papers, not unlike a certain country we know that fell into fascism, and were restricting their right to move outside of the West Bank before this, which is what he's talking about. Basically, they don't get to leave the prison that we've made for them because I don't like it. I don't like having Arab people around me. Even though they set up all of the conditions that led to the issues that we're seeing in Palestine and Gaza right now. On the war in Gaza, the government is racing ahead for Gaza to be wiped out. Thank God we are wiping out this evil. All Gaza will be Jewish. If anyone else said this, we would be saying, wow, what a monster. But instead, which, to be fair, every normal person is. Like, normal people see this statement and they realize this guy's a monster. He wants to kill everybody around him. He openly celebrates the restriction of freedom and the death of people of a different ethnicity than him because of their ethnicity, which is a genocide, which is an ethnic cleansing. And this was one of the guys that was marching through the streets in New York celebrating what a great partnership the U.S. and Israel have with each other. We are supporting absolute monsters with our money, with our bombs, and with political cover as well. Not to mention, we're straight up giving them our military to do whatever they want with. I think, what is it, 13 service members have died so far? Died in Iran. 13, maybe 14 if we count, was it yesterday or the day before, where one more service member got killed. So yeah, we're giving up our service members. We're bombing schools, little children's schools, and we're doing it all in service of people like this. Up. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, anybody who says that Mamdani is racist for not standing with the racists is like saying, oh, I can't believe Mamdani won't stand with white people. He didn't even walk through a Ku Klux Klan rally. Like, nobody thinks that's reasonable. Nobody thinks that makes you a white racist for not standing with the hooded dudes burning a cross through your town. So why would we think of this any differently when they say the exact same shit about Arab people that the Ku Klux Klan says about black people? Thanks for watching. I'm looking to put out more videos on politics, gaming, and everything you might be interested in. So if you like this video, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, comment. If you didn't like it, feel free to also drop a comment. I'll still respond. And I'll see you in the next one.